Okay folks, Bill here with Whirlybird Video Productions. I've got my Flitetest shirt on because we just got back from Flitetest up in Canton, Ohio last weekend. Had a great time hanging out. Shot some video of the Hughes 500 that I put together with the Magnum PI fuselage, so that's coming real soon, so stay tuned for that. But I'm here with a good friend of mine. This is actually one of my students that I'm training how to fly. His name is Josh. So I got Josh with me, even though it's a different Josh. So he's been flying a little bit. He's had a couple lessons, one or two, right?
Yeah, just a few.
And you've been practicing on a simulator though, right?
A whole lot.
A lot. I think it really helps to do simulator, and they're relatively inexpensive nowadays. So, you know, go out and get that's a lot cheaper than buying 5 or 6 airplanes anyway. And it'll definitely save you some money. And it's fun to get practice into. I still practice on my simulator every day. So what we're going to do is we're going to put together the FT Flyer. We've got it out of the box here, and we've got our hardware kit. We actually were nice enough, the Flitetest guys gave us a couple of the FT Flyers and a couple other kits to put together. So we're going to have a lot of fun doing that. But anyway, I wanted to get somebody that's never built anything, not even an ARF, right? We bought your ARF at a swap meet or something, right? Off of one of the club members, that's what it was. Mm-hmm. So he's got an ARF, it's, what is that thing?
Sky Raider.
Sky Raider, that's it. It's a 46 size Sky Raider Glow, and that's what he's been practicing on. So this should be really easy to fly for him, and he shouldn't require any kind of buddy box whatsoever. But we'll put him on the buddy box, let him take a couple circles, and then I bet I can actually unplug the buddy box and walk away. So we're going to get our computer up and going, and we're going to go to flitetest.com. We're going to look up the build video for the FT Flyer and start putting it together. And my thought in this whole video was just to kind of get somebody that's never put anything together, let them go through the video, let them put together a little foamy, which the FT Flyer should be really easy to put together, and then just kind of see what they think about the process and the airplane. So thanks for watching, and let's get started. So Josh, go ahead and pull up our Internet Explorer there. Well, actually I'm using Chrome, so it's a little yellow, and yeah, that one. We're going to go to flitetest.com. So let's go ahead and open up our kit. This is sharp. We don't cut ourselves. Or the foam. Could have been disastrous. Disastrous, I say.
I don't think I went to the right website.
This is not the right test. See, if you'll notice, this says FLITE. TEST.com.
I like how to spell it.
So then, once we're on a Flitetest, we want to go, the easiest way I found it is to actually go to the store. So where it says store there, and then we can actually go right to the product, and there'll be a link to the video and the product on the page. So click on aircraft, because this is an aircraft. So go to the 3-pack swappable speed build kit. Okay, so there it says PowerPod. Go ahead and select PowerPod build, and let's build the PowerPod first. It's that second link. Yeah, it takes a second. So what's unique about this, Josh had never even seen Flitetest or one of their airplanes, right? This is the first time. So they have their swappable kits. Did you notice that term they had on there, swappable? Mm-hmm. So this is the PowerPod itself, and we'll actually make a little PowerPod that has your motor and your receivers in it. This can come in and out of an airframe, so that you can take this out, fly the FT Flyer, pull it out, and put it in one of the other airplanes really quickly. So you can save money on electronics. So it's pretty slick. So we're going to build that swappable pod first.
Hi, welcome to Flitetest. I'm Josh.
Oh, it's Josh. This is Josh. So we're going to build the pod.
If you guys haven't already, go ahead and get your materials in order, and we'll go ahead and get started. But what you want to do is simply fold it back 180 degrees, showing the area to be removed on the edge. Now you can use your fingernail if you have some. Just go ahead and rotate it off. And if you've cut your score cuts deep enough, this will just pop off in one complete piece, just like that. Make sure that your groove is nice and clean of any debris, and go ahead and do the same for the other side. Now that we have the 2 cavities of foam removed,
one thing Josh showed me while we were up there, go ahead and pause that for a second,
should actually give you tension right when it meets about the 9.
So one thing that David, or I think it was David, showed us up there, we were having a little problem. We actually did it just like Josh did it there in the video, and it's a little bit hard if you don't have fingernails. But you can see Josh is working on it pretty good. Hi, Josh. But the easiest way that David showed me was a little bit easier is if you pop this side first. like that, and then pop it off again from this side, and then fold it all the way around so that it looks like that. Then it makes it much easier to just pop off like that. So that's the good part about the videos, is you can pause it, get to your spot, and then go ahead and just start your video back again.
More than you like, you can go ahead and just take a scrap piece of.
So that's really important. If you guys haven't built one of these, there's a couple different kinds of folds. Of course, if you guys have already put them together, you know, but there's an A fold and a B fold. They're actually laser etched right there on top of the piece that you're doing. And it's actually a little picture of what you want to look at. So you can see A would represent the bottom board, where it says the letter A, the bottom is the bottom, and then your outsides. And you can see that the outsides are actually sitting on top of A. So it should look like the picture. So that's important, because if you fold it incorrectly, you'll end up, it'll work, because it'll end up going together, but you'll see that it's actually going to be almost a ½ inch wider if you do that this way. So you want to make sure you get your fold types correct. And we're going to go ahead and hot glue this just like Josh had said. And you want to start like right in there and just nice bead of hot glue all the way, and then stop right about, you know, there. So we don't have excess squeezing out both ends.
Right.
There it goes. He doesn't like to use a lot of glue. That's like not a really good even patch of glue there. There you go. Now he's got some glue flowing. Okay, that's good. Go ahead and plug your glue gun back in there. And then that, again, this sits up on top of that. So do it like Josh said, leave this down on the ground. And then you want to hold that, like he said, at 90 degrees there. So he said you could use this. So you put this right on this side. Yeah. And if there's glue squirting out on the inside, we can actually take a little piece of foam and just kind of smooth that out just so it looks nice and pretty. Does that look pretty? Josh is not saying anything if it looks pretty or not.
Looks good.
Okay, and here, just hold good firm pressure all the way down, and then we should be good to go here in 20 or 30 minutes. Just keep holding it right there. I'll be back. That's square enough. It'll be perfect. So go ahead and start our video back up and see what we got to do next.
Our next step is to install the firewall onto our power pod itself. Now, obviously, once again, we want checks to fit, making sure that the bottom of the firewall is nice and flush with the bottom plates, and the side is flush with the side plates. This is where your barbecue skewers are going to go through, and it's very important that this is nice and securely fastened. And to do that, what we're going to simply do is put a bead of hot glue.
So we're watching Josh. Go ahead and pause it there. We were getting confused on the.
Tape over this.
So like, I guess it's really important to know what this is, right? This is the firewall. These two holes at the top of the firewall are where the barbecue skewers go into to actually mount this into the fuselage, so those should always be on the top. This is for your electronics from your motor to go into your ESC, so that should be at the bottom because your motor mounts right here. So that should go on like that.
Okay.
Or like that.
Okay.
Or like that.
Okay.
But not like this, or any other way. So
I never built anything, remember?
right, exactly. Is this complicated or is easy?
Seems pretty complicated.
Seems pretty complicated. Well, that's just because we don't know where this goes. But now that you know how this goes, it kind of clears that up, doesn't it?
Right.
So yeah, we need to put some glue right here, nice, good, big glob of glue, and then you'll hold it there. Don't burn yourself, and then I'll squeegee this around for you. So
Okay.
there you go. There you go. That's good. Right there. Yes. Yes. Lots of glue. Now this is hot glue, so do not put it on your fingers or it will burn little blisters on your little fingers. Been there, done that. Got it?
Believe so.
See what I mean? So probably want to kind of hold this out a little. We can tail that cut off on us a little. So we can square up this pod a little bit more as we mount this to it. So this is going to do the initial hold, but on our next step, Josh is actually going to go through the strapping of the box, and you're actually going to strap this power pod, and you're going to get most of your strength out of that strapping. The hot glue that's holding this on, you know, it's going to hold, but the strapping really adds to the rigidity of the power pod. Okay. So the first thing we're going to do now, we've got our power pod. It only took like 3 hours to build. Actually, no, it was pretty quick. It's like 10 minutes. Okay, I'm exaggerating. It took a little while, but we got it. It's really strong. I think it's going to last Josh a pretty good while. And we decided to put a pretty good sized motor on there. It's actually a little bit bigger than this thing needs, but we thought he might want to try the FT3D later because he likes to do aerobatics and he's wanting to go that way. So I wanted to build this power pod so that it could just come off and go on the other one, and we'll just swap it out to a bigger prop. So I'm putting an 8-inch prop on there. I think the FT Flyer will do fine. I actually didn't have the landing gear. They weren't in my package. I probably lost them between here and Ohio somewhere, but we can toss it, so no big deal. So the first thing it looks like we got to do is work on our elevator, and we're going to pop this and put a 45-degree bezel, and we're actually going to, or bevel, and we're going to do that on the control surface part. So go ahead and pop it loose there. So that's our elevator, you know. So, you know, we've got to have deflection on our elevator up and down, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we have to bevel that. So what we do is we turn that around like this, and then we're going to put a 45-degree bevel right down this edge.
Okay.
The easiest way to do that is put this on the edge of your table there. Again, David gave me a tip on this, and watching him show me, he wouldn't do it. He's big on, you got to do it yourself kind of deal, so he definitely wants to teach you how to do it, is use a nice new razor blade and then hold it on the table, put your hand up against the table, and then you can pull, and then as you're pulling across, also pull your razor blade down, not sawing. I'm doing that a little too big, but as you pull down. So as you go across, you actually pull down. Let me salvage that for you.
Cool.
So you got to go back up with your blade so that you've got somewhere to pull down. But you're keeping your bottom of your blade from cutting. You got to keep your bottom of the blade from cutting your paper. So you want to stay on top of the paper as you're pulling. I got a little too deep there, but it's not even straight. But with a little practice, you get a little better. And you see, we cut that in too there. It's no big deal. We'll actually take some clear tape and put it right there, and we'll be fine. So we got a little too deep on our hinge, so it's no big deal. We'll just we'll tape that in. I actually wanted to go all the way across, but didn't quite make it. I could have used a lot thinner tape too, but that's all I could get my hands on at the moment. We'll do that, and we'll take a razor, cut all that off. So now we got good hinge line, and the places that we cut too deep we got fixed. So if you do cut too deep, it's no big deal. A little tape, you're ready to go again. So the next step, we're actually going to put our wing on, and I want to put my battery connection back up in the fuselage so this will lay flat. So I'm just going to poke it back up through the power pod for right now so that it'll lay flat against the table. So here's your wing. You're going to put that on, just like he says. You want to line it up to these holes. Move the razor blade so we don't cut ourselves. See how nice fit that fit in there? Okay. So what we want to do is, the way he's showing, is to hold it down at an angle. And what we want to do is we want to actually get a little bit more angle in there so we can put some glue in. So I'm going to help you hold it. If you don't have somebody, you can just hold the wing up kind of like that. And that allows you to get your glue gun tip down in there and put a good bead of glue all the way down through there. And we're using a high temp glue gun, so this hot glue is really, really hot compared to, you know, using a low temperature glue gun. The glue won't burn you nearly as bad as it will with this hot temperature glue. So be very careful, especially when he's got the glue gun in my hands at the end. And then I make him laugh. Okay. Stop. That's my hand. Okay, put your glue gun. Perfect. and then do like Josh said there. Take your wing, and take your wing. Just grab your wing here, and then just kind of flex it together, and then back, and then stick it on there just like you did. So you want it to line up to the power pod spots. Right there you go. Stick it on, and then you want your tips to touch the table. There you go. So that sets an angle because this has a dihedral in it. I got foam on my nice Flitetest shirt. So then, if you'll hold the tips down, I'll squeegee it for you. Since he's got a friend. Just so we got that nice, you know, show quality glue seam. So then you want to let this dry completely, and we're just going to sit here and hold this for a few minutes and let this glue completely dry because it is really, really hot. And we're going to give it, I don't know, 4 or 5 minutes, and then we'll go on to the next step. So we're going to take a little bit of a break. So this is a good time to take a break. I need some coffee. Okay, we got our coffee, and our wing here is good and set up. And we're going to go ahead and start the fuselage part. So we've got another A-fold here that's just really, it's kind of similar to your power pod. So again, we just have to snap both of those off and take a fingernail and edge that piece that we don't need off and make sure we don't have any foam left in there. This is your tail where the slot in there. He's asking me which direction to get orientation off of this. So this slot's actually where your rudder goes, for your vertical stabilizer. So that means that's the tail, so that's the front. So the front's here.
Okay.
And then he's showing it here, he's showing it that you're putting this on the back because this is actually the tail part of the airplane. So we're actually looking at the bottom of the wing because we're actually going to take this off. Whoop, it goes up like this, makes the airplane. So this, the reason we use the power pod this way is to get the angle that we're looking for our dihedral. So we want to put glue down both sides of here all the way down where it sticks out, and you can look at this, you can see that you don't need to come all the way back. You can stop right before here. So just a little ways here, and then all the way down on both sides.
Okay.
You can go right up to those notches. Ow, that's hot. And then go all the way up. Now we've got the giggles. Cut the giggles. So you put that one right there, and then we just line it up.
Just like this?
Yeah. You may have to contort it a little to get it to go in both the slots. Let me help you a little. So you have to, like, there you go. And then you want to offset both sides here. So just kind of make sure it kind of looks like it's good in the middle. You know what I'm saying? See what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Then we'll hold that there and let that glue dry. I got my coffee cup in the way. So Greg's over there doing stuff like that's in the way. So once you make sure this is just centered, hold that there. Do a little squeegee work here without moving. And our glue's setting up. It'll be beautiful.
Looking at our servo cutout, splitting the difference between the two. We're going to want to install the control horns on the side with the paper. This being considered the back side, this being considered the front side. Go ahead and lay it flat on a building board and just push down the applied control.
So he wants us to put our control horn on here, and he's talking about when he says the paper is the top, he's talking about here where it's not cut.
Right.
So the top of the paper's here, so our control horn will go right there. Perfect. All the way down and slide it back and forth just a little. Okay. Now go ahead and it looks like you got a good fit. So go ahead and pull out. Go ahead and put your little bead of glue in down in the slot, and then go ahead and stick that back in. Push your, yeah. Hold your glue gun flat so that you can shove it down in there. Good. And again, rock it back and forth just a little once you get it seated down in there good. And you see that little lip in the back? You want to try to push that where it's down tight. And then what it's doing is it's rubbing on the other side where the paper is. So that's good. So that's that one control horn. So we put glue on the front of the rudder in just this little bitty area here. This is about 1 inch, and then put it in, and then that goes down nice and flat. So that's what Josh was doing to make sure we were flat. This Josh, not that Josh. And then you want to check to make sure you're not binding on your control surface. You also want to check to make sure you're 90 degrees. And you can hold your elevator like that and get you something 90 degrees. This has got a rounded edge, but that's perfect. Perfect. And then I think if we will continue to watch the video, we actually want to run a bead of glue down the edge of it. But go ahead and start the video back.
Once you're happy with the fit, you can go back and put a very, very thin
Very
bead of glue on
thin
both
layer.
sides.
You hear that? Very thin layer.
Because this has to squeeze through the rear fuselage slot. Now that our rudder is done, and our wing and our fuselage and the back part are done,
So like if you'll take your piece and hold it down like that, if you got that nice flat 90 degrees, see how that is pulled off? Then you,
Oh, okay.
that's pretty good.
I did it the wrong way.
Okay. So go ahead and put you another nice thin layer on that side. What we're going to do is test fit now. So we're just going to slide that up against the bottom of the fuselage and then all the way up till it touches right there. And then this should be flat against that, so you can tell we're down a little bit. So you're going to have to push that up. That should be flat against the bottom of the fuselage. There you go. So now we're going to put the power pod on and put our barbecue skewers in, get everything lined up, and finalize the installation of our power pod. And then in the airplane, we put the control rods on. We're almost done. So we got it done.
Yeah.
So we got all our control surfaces hooked up. We can show you hooking that up. You can watch that video on there. I did it pretty good. I like the little idea with the zip tie, where you put the zip tie in. That's pretty cool, huh? So we're going to go out, we're going to fly it. Of course, I'm expecting big things. This motor's like kind of overpowered for this thing, but I think it'll go up. So we're going to see it's really windy outside, so it's going to be fun. You know what I'm saying? So Josh has only flown a couple times, so we're going to go film it, see the crash, everything. Actually, his nickname, Crash. How'd you get the nickname?
Because I didn't crash.
Because you didn't crash. Yeah, we were out at the field. He wants to hook to a trainer box, and one of the guys says, "Hey, hook to my airplane." So they hook him up to the airplane, and they go up, and he wanted to do a loop or something. Or maybe somebody wanted him to do a loop even.
I don't remember.
Doesn't remember. So anyway, we do the loop, and his instructor that has the buddy box does the loop. Got upside down, got disoriented, and pushed the wrong direction, and that with only 3 or 4 rubber bands on the wing.
Yeah.
Caused the wing to separate from the fuselage. It was pretty cool because in the loop you could actually see air between the fuselage and the wing. And then it come off and hit the ground. And he wasn't even flying, but he got the nickname Crash, and that's what they call him. So anyway, let's go outside and see how this flies, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about it. So Josh, what do you think about the FT Flyer? Do you think it's pretty simple build?
It seems simple to build, and it's really fun to fly.
Is it a little squirrely, you think, or are those rates pretty good?
It seems good to me. Wind's blowing a little bit.
Yeah, it's a little windy, and it also helps it, I think, if you slow down a little too. Anything below half throttle, it seems really smooth. If you go much above half throttle, it gets really touchy. And we set up a couple rates. We set up a high rate, the actual suggested rate that the little throw meter that they give you is our high rate, and then we set up about 10 or 15% lower than that. So what do you think, Josh? The wind's kind of beating us to death here, but can you tell much about how the way that it flies as far as, do you think this would be good for a beginner, or you think it's a little squirrely, or?
It flies really good. It's fun to fly. Flies really smooth.
That simulator time paying off?
Oh yeah. Spent a lot of time on the simulator.
Well, we've been flying for like an hour. Well, actually, you know, it's not that long, but that 1300 milliamp battery and just cruising along. He's at a half throttle right now, but we flew for about 10 minutes on the last flight, so we've got a couple flights on it, and then I'm just editing down the video you're seeing so that it's not an hour long. But it seems to be working pretty good, the little 1300 milliamp battery on there. So let's go ahead and set up for a landing, and then we'll go in and we'll to talk about it a little bit. Greg, see if you can come right into the wind and just use back pressure and throttle. Something like that. He's aiming for the mud pile. He almost hit it. So, we got a good flight on it. We've had a lot of fun putting it together today. It's took all day, but we've had some pretty good times, I think. Did you enjoy putting it together? Or?
I did. It was simple and it came together somewhat quick.
The hot glue and the foam's the way to go when you're not used to building it, and it's really easy, I think. So it's good for people that are not builders to get into it, and then I think it can definitely be a stepping stone into, you know, someday actually, you know, building an ARF or also a built-up model or even a kit, you know. So I enjoy putting stuff together. Most young folks don't. They enjoy playing video games, but that helps out, you know, with the video games and the radio control. I think it kind of goes hand in hand. Did you enjoy flying it? I mean, what did you think about the flight characteristics of the airplane?
It was really fun to fly. It was easy. I really enjoyed it.
Really enjoyed it. It's not very conversational. Speed range, I think it definitely flies if you throw a half throttle or less.
Yeah, it flied a lot smoother once I got off my lead foot.
It's lit. Okay, so yeah, it seems like definitely at a low power setting, it's much smoother. And I just think that's kind of the way the short wing is. Even like the snowball, if you fly a snowball or nutball, they seem to fly a little bit better if you fly a little slower. And a little bit of angle of attack, because you don't really have much of an airfoil. You've got this dihedral going for you, but it seems to keep that angle of attack a little bit positive, and it seems to mush around, and it feels good and smooth at that point. I think wind was definitely a problem. It was pushing us around the curves out there.
The wind was rough.
Yeah, but he did really good. You could see that he had no buddy box. I was going to buddy box him, but he didn't like the idea of being on a buddy box. So on video, he's like, "Oh, I don't want to look like I can't fly. I've done this twice." So anyway, we got him out there, and it looked like he did pretty good. We've had a lot of fun playing with it today. Thanks Flitetest for donating this aircraft, and actually going to give it to Josh for helping me today and putting it together. So he'll have to fly it with my borrowed transmitter, but you know, he can come out and fly anytime he wants, and he gets to go to the field when he wants to go. He's always welcome. He's actually a next door neighbor, so can pick him up on the way. So at any rate, thanks a lot for watching. Please rate, subscribe, give me a big thumbs up. And again, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time on Whirlybird Video Productions.